time. Yes. Totally on time.
That's scary.
Isn't that a first? I think that's a first.
Maybe.
Yeah. Look at how tall I am today again. I'm 7 foot.
You got your
I like it.
It's my mugshot.
I might have scared him away. Somebody hit
My
me up on
mugshot.
LinkedIn who was being very, very helps men find their spirituality and all that shenanigans. And I was very nice. I was very gracious, but I pointed out to him that we have, different people have different ideas, and I'm happy to connect if he is willing to have those conversations. Oh, there we go. All right, he did. Russ
I'm
Devoe.
like Andre the Giant. Look at how big I am.
Oh, Yvette. Yeah, you got some height on you now.
Large and in charge, pal.
That's right.
Awesome. All right, I got what am I doing? YouTubes, the tubes.
The Dupskis.
I look tired.
There we go.
I think we're all kind of tired tonight. I know I'm tired. I got up way before my normal get up time.
I got yelled at last week because we were low energy. So probably going to get yelled at this week because we're low energy.
You know what? We need some Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Did the urge
Need
to
some
say
Steve-
something akin to kiss my ass come to mind? You guys try to do this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
Hey, Chris, what kind of music do you like?
Oh, all over the place. Everything from like if I'm driving, honestly, it's all over the place, situational dependent. But like when I'm driving the Mustang, if I got the boss out, I'll chuck on like good guitar music. So like some serious guitar music. If I'm trying to do work, like I'm wanting to concentrate on things and stuff like that, it's like Joe Blakenberg, Nightwish. I'll throw Audio Machine on, Wall of Noise, Brand X, and stuff like that. I got a ton of classical stuff that I listen to. I'm all over the place. Like, I mean, I was driving the Mustang the other day. I was just blasting Springsteen out. So
There you go.
I like Satriani and all sorts of stuff like that. It's all over the freaking place.
How about you, Ryan? I already know you.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard my music collection, right? I've got theme shows for game shows in there. I've got you name it, anything random.
All right, you had freaking okay. So he starts talking to me about like the theme tune for InfoSec, and I'm like, and he's like, oh, I gotta find this, and it was some obscure. I can't remember who the hell the bloody artist was. I'm like, all right, what the hell is this? It's fucking Benny Hill. I'm like, you gotta be, but it's so right. I'm like, can't disagree with you.
It's the theme song for the industry. I don't know what to say.
Oh my God. We need to, maybe that's what we need to do the intro here is, if we get professional at this, can we do like a 20-second or 30-second intro sponsored by, Compass Box and a theme tune from somebody else?
I like it. If we do that, then we can afford the license rights for the song.
To hell with that. We'll just, creative use license or something, I'm sure.
It's newsworthy. The show is newsworthy. Therefore, it meets fair use.
There we go. See?
And then we throw a little satire in there so we're fully covered.
I like it.
Oh, dear. Oh.
Well, thanks for being here tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good to be here, man.
And thanks for not being shitty coworkers. I know I appreciate it.
Oh, we try. I love the description you put in there. The description was fantastic. I'm just like, yep.
Well, so
I thought I was being a shitty coworker. I think I just suck at my job.
Those are different things, by the way. You can suck at your job and not be a shitty coworker. They are very different things.
All right.
No, so this kind of spawned out of some of the various people that I talk to and give counsel to, right? I got a group of folks that'll call me to let the steam valve out. And, I'll be the first to admit, the last year, I really haven't had shitty coworkers at all. I haven't had experiences that I used to have in my past, but I continue to hear about it from these people who are dealing with situations that, I mean, it's the whole reason I said no to corporate America in the first place. It's games and the nonsense for the sake of the nonsense, not because there's any reasonable reason behind the motivation, not for, you know, any business driven purpose. It's that guy's a D-bag to be a D-bag. So I'll lead us off with one story of a hellacious coworker that I worked with. And at the end, I figured out why he was the way he was, which I think is an important part of tonight's topic. Okay. So this guy was just mean and spitfire. And everybody was kind of on eggshells with him because he was crabby, he was curmudgeon, he always carried a chip on the shoulder, had a bad attitude. And one time, now he's a coworker. I don't report to this guy. You know, I think he was like one up from me in the overall hierarchy, but you know, as far as the project was concerned, straight line across. And he comes up to one of the glass meeting rooms and he's shaking his fist and pointing his finger and you know, mouth shouting at me because, you know, he didn't have the guts to actually shout. So he's making this, you know, ruckus. And I'm like, what the hell does this guy want? So I go out there and he's like, he starts bitching at me about something somebody else did. And I say, hey, go back to your office. When I'm done with this, I'll come and find you. Don't ever pull me out of a meeting like that again. You over here looking like you're having a seizure. I thought we were going to have to call 911 and you're just being a jerk. Well, come to find out that guy treated everybody that way. Then somebody says, oh, well, I used to be friends with the family. I know why he behaves that way. And we said, tell us more. Well, you see, Ryan, when he leaves here, the pants stay behind. He goes home to a house where he has no authority, no respect, nothing. He is the doormat of the family. And so when he comes to work, this is where his power and control lies. And he just gets mad with it. And I thought that was interesting because how many of the shitty coworkers do we interact with that are that way because something else in their life is going on that's making them that way, that maybe they don't have any, feel like they have any control over their real life. So they have to be completely in control of their work life. So I'm just going to kind of open with that and throw it to you guys. And what do you think?
I think you're being too nice. I think somebody, so actually there was a really good conversation. Where the hell was it? Oh, there we go. Chris Patterson said it. He actually just put a comment in like 20 minutes ago to the post I chucked up on LinkedIn that was like, you know, be curious. So the same kind of thing is like, okay, why is somebody being like that? I'm going to play devil's advocate. I got to be honest on this one because, I mean, we've all been there. We've all seen it. We've all done it. Yes, there are definitely times when home life and when personal life really does bleed into business life. But at the same time, again, coming out of the military, leave your shit at the front door. Come in, sit the fuck down, put your business head on, get your shit done. Otherwise, you're getting a shovel around the back of your head, and I'm putting you out in the desert with the vultures, maybe, if I'm nice. So, you know, there's two sides to that one. There's the, and maybe there's counseling, maybe there's a discussion that has to happen, but at the same time, it's like you have to. We've all gone through stupid shit. Let's just be both honest on this one. And I know I've been an absolute arse at times, but at the same time, there's also the other part of you, which is like, nut the fuck up and shut up, get your head down, get your shit done, do the best you can in the circumstances. Maybe explain to people, come in and go, look, I apologize. Jen did it today. She walked into the lab today. I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, it's just a shitty day today. She's like, I need chocolate. I'm like, all right, anything I can help with, anything I can do. But communication was there. I'm in a shitty mood. I'm going to be okay, but I might be a bit spiky. Got it.
And I think where I draw the line, that's not a shitty coworker. That's somebody having a bad day.
Right.
I think where I draw the line is when people are they just come for the fight.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is work, not MMA. What are you doing? Why did you come ready to fight everything? Doesn't matter what it is.
You know what though? The fight I can handle. The fight, again, it probably helps being 6'3" and hairy. Let's face it. The fight I can handle, say, fuck it, bring it. What
7 feet.
pisses me off more than anything else is that backstabbing shit, that passive aggressive. I have no fuck. I will put 2 bullets in your head if you're passive aggressive to me. I have zero fucking tolerance. I've been married to people that are passive aggressive. I don't have tolerance on that one. Your ass is done. Sorry, you
There's
won.
going to be a lot of dead people when you come to Minnesota because that's kind of the state culture.
I got no problem. I got a wagon. I got a wagon. It'll take what will we take in that wagon? 1, 2,
Oh
3,
shit,
4,
we could get at
8
least
or 9.
10. We get
8 or
back
9 in
10
there
pulled
without a
up,
problem.
dude.
Yeah, 10 if we use the front seat as well. Yeah, we can do
12.
it.
Then you're talking 12.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we got enough space to keep a few folks going.
So no, and when I say the fight, I don't mean, hey, my position is this, and I'm going to defend it because I believe you to be incorrect or in the wrong. I'm talking about when I know I'm supposed to do the thing, but I'm just going to fight and make it all about being your fault. So to your point, kind of the backstabby, the shifting of the blame. Well, did we have that meeting 6 months ago when you made it perfectly clear this was 100% our problem? I don't recall that. And then we play the email game and we lose how many minutes or hours a day digging up email to do a CYA to go, no, F you, this is how it went down.
Yep.
That's what I'm getting at. Those are the people. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. You're not fighting for a valid argument. You're fighting because you know you're in the wrong. It's kind of like what Evan says. Like if you confront somebody on something, they either, attack your character or misdirect. And it's kind of a combo platter of both, right? It's like, you didn't do your job and it's this other guy's fault.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or I told you about that 6 months ago, or I did this, or I've done this, or nobody listened to me. That nobody ever listens to me.
Oh, God.
I'm like, come on, there's legitimacy to almost everything. And sometimes you're right. Yeah, it is worthwhile digging to the bottom of it. But my patience this is why I love what I do. And this is why, I've had people working for me. I've had coworkers, I've had people working with me, but I've had to learn some serious tolerance skills that I never really ever had. In the military, it's easy. You just shoot them. It's a lot simpler. Life's a lot easier that way.
Well, it's SOPs and, just do it to SOP, right? I mean, that's the problem. We should have an SOP for a meeting, right? Like legit, how many meetings should have been emails? So.
Oh my! Well, I mean, there's a couple of famous people. I can't remember who off the top of my head. There's a couple of famous people that they'll walk out of a meeting if there's no agenda. In other words, if they don't have the agenda beforehand, and if there's more than 5 people in a meeting, and if the meeting lasts more than 20 minutes or half an hour. Jesse hit me up on this one the other night. He was talking because he now runs an entire team. Bless him. He's in management now. It's fucking hilarious. This Nebraska boy in management. I love it because he doesn't care. He's effing and blind and he still cares for who he is. But he's done management. He's like, my meetings last 10 minutes and they're out on the rails or they're out in the middle of whatever I'm doing. It's 10 minutes. I got 20 people. That's it. End of discussion. None of this hour-long bullshit. None of this fucking, and he's like, I'm not somebody else's bloody whatever. I wouldn't use the words he uses. And that's you. Yeah, I won't use the word he uses. But he's like, I'm not somebody else's flipping emotional rag or anything like that. It's 10 minutes. I get my point across. Everybody else gets their point across, and shit gets done.
Yeah. We have a rule. So I've been in management for a while now, too long, I think. So people know what I have tolerance for and what I don't have tolerance for. We have core values that hang up on the wall, right when you walk in the office, it's on the wall. Number one is we tell the truth, right? And there's no, it's pretty cut and dry. You lie, you're gone. Everybody knows that, right? And we have another rule, and this one's not written on the wall, but the rule is we have no dickheads. And I even get up in front of the whole company, when we do our quarterly meetings and say, look around. You guys are all awesome. There's no dickheads here. They begin self-police, right? If there is a dickhead, they get rid of them. I mean, I don't even have to deal with it. But occasionally you run into people like the ones that I really can't stand are the ones that the Mr. Know-it-all. Every meeting, he's got an answer. He's got an answer. And then somebody else brings up an idea, and he immediately shoots it down. Discounts it. It's like, who the fuck are you? That's a great idea. Let's flesh that out. There was a guy was the last guy that I remember us sort of getting rid of. There was another guy who, we have our mission, and everybody at our company not has to be, but well, I guess if you want to work here, you're aligned with the mission. It's always meant for money with us. So mission, mission, mission. And some people will use that against you. And so we've had selfish people who really used things for their benefit, at the detriment of the team. But, outright assholes, it's been a long time since I've had to deal with one. It's the backstabbing kind of side maneuvering kind of people, that I see around once in a while, but not at our company. I mean, it's crazy the quality of character that we have, kind of where we work today.
I think, to follow on to that one, the probably the worst / most toxic. I'll go back to a couple of places that I've walked in as a consultant, and you sit down with the IT team or the InfoSec team, and we've talked about this a little bit in previous ones. I talked about this online as well in conferences. It's the InfoSec team doesn't talk well with the network team because they're always trying to do different tools or different things, and everybody blames the developers because they're off in a different part of the building, and they're easy to blame. Nobody likes the DBAs because of X. Operators, and it's like, well, hang on, what in hell's name is going on here? You're all getting the same paycheck from the same company. You're all meant to be rowing in the same freaking direction. When you have to sit down with a network team and mollycoddle them because, well, the security team wanted to buy a different tool. Okay, put your big boy pants on, put your fucking toys away, sit down. What is the best for the company? Not where does your ego take you, or maybe, one likes Splunk and one likes, pick another one, QRadar. Get off your own fucking egos. This is a simple decision. Which one's best for the company? I don't care that the network team suggested it, and I don't care that security suggested it. Pick the best one for the same fucking employer that pays you. That's your job. End of discussion. And that, I think, pisses me off. That, to me, is the most toxic for what we do with and for what we deal with. And I think that's where it frustrates the hell out of me, is people can't get out of their own, Evan, to what you were saying, people don't seem to want to get out of their own, I'm better than everybody else, and my opinion matters more than everybody else. No, fucking it doesn't.
Oh yeah, like the ego, right? The ego causes so many fucking problems, right? And I can't stand, and we have to hold each other accountable too. Like Ryan, you and I are kind of accountability buddies. You're my left hand, right hand. It's not, yes, there's a boss, relationship, but that's like secondary.
Right.
Right. I mean, we're real people. I expect you to tell me when my ego's getting out of whack.
Vice versa.
Yeah. And it's the same way with, really our whole team. And there are times when, there's ticks, right? There's shit that happens. Like, I've said it before that shit flows uphill, right? So at the end of the day, you're the one that kind of catches the shit, which is the way it's supposed to be. It doesn't roll downhill. And just this last week, I had a director, come to me and say, "Hey, can I talk to you about something?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. Anybody can talk to me about something. I don't care." He's like, "Well, I heard from so-and-so who heard it from so-and-so." And I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck, man? You're not just secondhand information. You're telling me like third-hand information. I don't work with that. If you got a problem with so-and-so or so-and-so, you go talk to so-and-so."
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to play this game, man. So, hopefully that's what he did. Then I went and told his boss. I'm just kidding. Didn't do that.
Hey, I might have to drop for a second. I have literally lost this screen in front of me. I got the big screen, but I don't have my screen in front of me. I have no clue I can't. Yeah. I'm like, no, I can see you. I can see the pair of you, but I don't know what the hell this thing is. Oh, hang on. What the? Oh, hang on. No, not that.
I am the ghost in your machine.
Please don't be. Look. Oh, well, hang on. All right. Okay. So I'm on a Mac, so don't even bitch at me for that one. But if I hold, oh, there it is. I got it back.
He's on him. No, I'm just.
What the fuck? I don't know what's going on. I must have done something. Apparently, if I put 3 fingers all the way to the right of the trackpad in front of me and hold them there, I get my screen back.
Oh, okay.
I,
Fantastic.
I
I don't know.
Feature.
I don't have a trackpad. I have a mouse.
were you here when I had, no, I was still using the mouse with hairy balls. I bought myself a trackpad, like the external
Okay.
trackpad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used it for 48 hours. And it's now on the other Mac that's over there, that's behind me now. Yeah. And I've gone back to the Magic Mouse, which hopefully won't get hair in its. Okay. Which fuckwit at Apple?
If you
Yeah, I know
stare into
you.
the laser beam,
I'm actually happy with that. Which
you can do your own
fuckwit at Apple
you can do your own LASIK.
put a
You can do your own
countersunk
LASIK.
hole with a
I'm fixing
bunch
my
of.
eyes right now.
Don't do that to you. We need you at one piece. I've got a LASIK enabled laser floating around somewhere, like 5 watt or something stupid. All right, I don't want to bitch for a second. Which total spanner at Apple decided to put a countersunk hole with multiple optical glass balls that one fucking dog hair will actually screw the whole thing up? I mean,
You said balls.
okay, just what the fuck were you thinking? All right, we digress. I'm sorry.
I mean, but okay. So, do you remember when you actually had the trackball and you had to open it up because all the fucking hair was all over the rollers, which would.
Yeah, but at least you got to collect lots of hair. It was like those lint rollers. At least they
It looked
worked.
like the inside of your vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, it worked for a while. One fucking dog hair right in the middle of this stupid hole that they put little sensors in the back of to make it look fucking pretty. It's got little glass balls in there. It's like its testicles have actually receded because it's too cold back into the body. One hair.
The testicles are receding because it's a shame to be an apple.
Oh, bugger off.
I couldn't resist.
It's pretty though. It's pretty.
One hair. And I lose use of this thing, which is why I bought the trackpad, but the trackpad's even worse.
Yeah, but one of your
have you ever been hit
equal to an arm?
Have you ever been hit? Have you ever been hit by one of those balls?
Oh,
those
they were.
Oh, yeah, those suckers hurt.
Fuck yeah.
We play cricket with them every now and again, and that's just. Oh, do you remember the Tipex jars? Do you remember Tipex, the whiteout? I think you call them this fucking country. We called it Tipex. It's whiteout. Came in those little.
Whiteout, yeah.
Yeah. So we ran out of mouse balls one day, and we were playing cricket in the office. We ran out of mouse balls. I don't know. They'd gone all over the place. So we ended up using the bottle of whiteout as the ball. Oh yeah,
man,
crack.
Just dust.
A cloud of whiteout all over some very expensive computers everywhere. Yeah, that was an interesting one to explain the following morning.
We used to play baseball with ice cubes. Baseball with ice cubes and trackballs in the office.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, that hurts. And then ping pong balls. That's kind of fun. That doesn't hurt anything, but
yeah, those things are fun. Yeah.
The best I've got is we did Nerf guns in the development pit, and one day one went over the wall, and no more fun.
Oh, seriously?
Hit the wrong prick in the elbow. A Nerf dart, at low velocity, hits this guy in the elbow. All of a sudden, it's an HR issue. You're gonna put somebody's eye out.
Oh, gee. Somebody came in the office with one of the Gatling
shitty coworker.
Those one I can't remember. It was back in the old days. We would use those on a fairly regular basis, and I mean, it shit happened. It's like you walk into this office, you expect that. End of discussion. If you don't like it, you have the option not to work here, and I mean that as nice as I can. Somebody came in literally with the Gatling gun, multiple battery Gatling gun, one of those. Fucking hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. So much fun. We were big kids, and we expensed most of it.
We still do that shit. My Kevin, we do a lot of things. I don't know if Kevin watches this shit show. But Kevin's like my work wife.
That's awesome.
He's the one that made me get rid of the carts. So he went on vacation one week, and I went and bought go-karts while he was gone. And so we were racing go-karts around the office. Awesome. And then Kevin comes back and says legal stuff, legal whatever, liability things, can't do it. So now I want to get ultralights with paintball guns mounted on them.
Bathtub with a lawnmower engine, those stupid things. No, that shit ain't happening. No.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay, it is a parachute.
Do that
with a bathtub and a lawnmower engine. Let's be honest, a big lawnmower engine, but it's still a lawnmower engine.
So are you saying don't do it or do it? Do it. All right, do it.
I'd still go with motorbikes. I would go with motorbikes with Nerf guns, USB Nerf guns and motorbikes. Seriously, a couple of those Gatling guns mounted on the side of a motorbike and just shit like that. That's like modern day jousting. That would be
why not like ultralights though? Like an ultralight with the paintball guns?
Yeah,
they're hard to control.
To control.
Not my problem.
Way. Actually, don't use Nerf. Use the grenades. They have the paintball grenades. Use the grenades to get a better range.
Well, they have the claymores too.
Sold.
Click, boom.
Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. See, there you go. Much better. If you're gonna do it, go big.
You do it. You do know I have I make these calls.
I know. I just like you in one piece. That's all. I'm just saying, bathtub with a lawnmower engine. That's it. There was a thing on LinkedIn where somebody said, "Hey, we're going to do this," and I'm like, "Hey, that's all you. My daughter won't even let me get on a freaking motorbike, let alone in a stupid bathtub in the middle of the air." Okay, actually, so I want one more fetching point before we go back to this bloody thing. And who the hell said it? Somebody said it up on here. Yeah, it wasn't Jason. And where the hell is it? Yeah, the angry intern. Okay, another fucking Apple bloody. Okay, so get your mouses again. Are they battery operated? Are they battery operated or are they charged?
Yes. Nope. It's battery.
Okay.
Battery.
Okay. Guess what? This has got a charging port on it. Okay. My old one had batteries. This has a charging port on it. This is a mouse. It has to live this way up and do all sorts of things. The fucking charging port is underside. So when you have to charge the damn thing, it's like one of those Beetles. You have to leave it this way up and you can't use the stupid thing when you're charging it. Again, what fucking spanner at Apple came up with that dumb as a box of rocks idea?
Well, you think they'd at least give you a dongle.
What's a spanner? What's a spanner?
It's the English equivalent of it's a womble. I don't know what is the official
crescent wrench.
No, it's a proper spanner. Yeah, no, you call them wrenches. It's a ruddy spanner for crying out loud.
Yeah, but is it adjustable? If it's adjustable, that's a crescent wrench.
Yeah.
But I'm not calling somebody a crescent wrench.
No, you can call them a spanner.
What's a spanner though? Is that like a dipshit?
It's a muppet. It's an it's a dipshit. That works. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Because I'm gonna start using some of your language because I like it better.
It's that one sandwich short of a picnic. You know, it's that kind of a. Do you use that phrase over here as well?
What?
One sandwich short of a picnic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sort of.
One sandwich short of a picnic basket.
That would work too. Yeah, that's the Yogi Bear version. Totally. Yeah, that works. Yeah, that's your spanner.
Okay. I know spanners.
Oh.
Yeah, we got to go do that. And if the RV keeps leaking, it will be donated.
Oh, it's not still leaking, is it?
So here's the deal. It's either not still leaking because I fixed it, or it's run out of fluid. I'm terrified to find out which. I won't put any new fluid in it right now. I'm like, it goes up north for storage this weekend. On Sunday, I'm taking it up for its winter resting.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes, but I've decided that I'm going to put a long hose into the tranny fill tube, bring it into the cab so that I can pour fluid as I drive. Okay, that's inventive. That is how you solve a problem. So I have this fucking garden hose running into the grill and up into the.
Oh my gosh.
That'll work. You got to get a picture of that.
I'm going.
You got to get a picture of that, man.
Oh, I so want to do this. I need to. I'm sending this to the HHS crew. We're coming up. We're gonna have an HHS outing up here with all of our ordnance.
And us. Don't forget me and Ryan. We like blowing up.
You'd both be there for crying out loud.
It's from what I've never been. It's on my bucket list, but I've heard that it is a pretty damn good time.
Okay. Well, as soon as I get out of jail, I'll just jack another car and bring it down there, and we can blow that shit up.
Splendid. Did you just see? Bless. This so this is the other one. I mean, occasionally I have accused our federal authorities of eating too many of the crayons when they were younger. But John just said it perfectly. He's like, being a jarhead, I eat the brightest crayon.
Who's a jarhead?
Matt.
Semper Fi, man. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for your service.
Totally. Yeah. Not everybody gets to be sure.
Oh, yeah. The Marine Corps birthday is 37 days away.
Coming up. Hang on. Yeah.
No, it's November 8th.
You guys have got a few years to go before you get to it. Oh yeah. No, hang on. I got November. Yeah, November. Actually, that's a couple of days after my 50th hits. I didn't realize that.
Oh, you're the big 5-0 this year?
November 10th. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah,
November 8th.
Big 5-0 this year.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'm going to be 52. I'm going to be 50 also.
When was yours? When's yours?
I don't tell you shit like that.
We ain't talking birthdays on the show. Yeah,
I don't tell you shit like that.
Social and your mother's maiden.
It's okay. We'll look it up.
I don't tell you shit.
I got this covered.
Oh, dude, yeah. You could also. I mean, it's seriously. I don't do a good job of hiding myself.
I remember seeing something about it. Yeah, big 5-0 as well.
My birthday. Yeah.
Big 5-0 as well. Holy shit! Yeah, this shit's yeah, getting old.
It's a fucking miracle. There's no way in hell I'm supposed to make it to 50. I don't know how the hell this happened.
I always said 75. I always said if I make it past 75, I'll be ridiculously surprised. I figured I'd give myself a little bit of extra time. That was after I got out of the military and after a few other things. I figured if I make it to that point, I'll be pleased. Before then, I've done a bunch, but I'll be slightly pissed off because there's some things I still wouldn't mind getting sorted out.
Yeah.
Probably a few more.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to make it to 30, and then I didn't think I was going to make it to 40, and then fuck 50, really? You know, between hitting deer on motorcycles and crashing else I've crashed and living hard, cancer, you know, it's like, the fuck? Whatever. Here I am.
Yeah, I'm kind of the motorcycle thing. Yeah, the motorcycle thing. All right, we digressed. We totally digressed.
We did digress. Yeah, what the hell? She worked.
Let's
get tired of this.
The chloroform and middle of the night trips into the desert with our coworkers.
Yeah. Have you nailed a coworker?
Hang on, what? Have I nailed a coworker?
Well, killed, or nailed. I mean, I don't know.
I think those are very different questions.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
He broke up at that point, and I was like, "Have I ever?" And I named a coworker, and I'm like, "Ooh, nailed, killed."
Well, here's the thing. My admin assistant is actually my wife, so yes, I've nailed a coworker, and I still continue to nail the coworker.
And it's not been an HR violation.
No, and when you're the owner, it's like, what's an HR violation?
Yeah, it does help.
I mean, still, you never abuse that. So speaking of that, when we're ready, let's more about coworkers and just stories. Maybe if you got some stories that we can share, and then I'll tell you what we do. I'd like to share, kind of what FR Secure's core values are, why it's so important to stick to a central set of core values, and you don't compromise. Where do you draw the line between what's acceptable, what's not acceptable in terms of behavior, in terms of culture, in terms of, whatever, right? What's acceptable and what's not acceptable. You know me, right, Chris. I mean, you brought it up when we were in the panel yesterday.
Yeah.
Accountability. Somebody's got to be accountable. So anyway, I don't know. Let's share some stories. What do you got? I had to fire a guy once for stealing shit he was on the security team. He was stealing shit off of recycled hardware that he was stealing it and selling it on eBay. He was in an office in Baltimore. I'm in an office in Minneapolis. I was like, son of a bitch. I have to fly out to Baltimore to fire this guy. So I flew out to Baltimore, showed up. He didn't know I was coming. Walked around the corner. Oh, hey, Evan. I'm like, hey, man, you got a minute? Let's go talk. So I went and talked, fired him, and that was it. But, sometimes coworkers do steal shit too, right? I mean, we've all got something.
Yep.
That's a shitty coworker. You don't steal shit.
It's a tough one.
The worst is when you're trying not to be on the team. When you're on the team and you're doing everything in your power to drag the team down, to not do your fair share, to bitch, moan, piss, complain. And it's just like that, you get that coworker that when they walk in the room, you're just like, oh, this asshole again. Like everybody just all of a sudden the collective spirit of the room drops by 3. Those are the people that I think are just toxic beyond belief. Like, it's funny that
that's a telltale sign, by the way. That's a telltale sign. If that happens, why are they there?
So
agreed.
I don't think there's anybody from one of my former organizations here, and if they are, well, tough shit as far as I'm concerned on this one. But I mean, part of the reason I left one of the former organizations I was with was because of the toxicity of a former, co-worker to some degree. I mean, they were at the same level I was. They were senior leadership. And they were so toxic that most of their department left over time. I just gave a good glowing recommendation for another one not more than a couple of weeks ago. And I'm still getting calls from a few people that are still there going basically, hey, I'm looking here. Would you give me a recommendation? Oh, hell yeah, I got you covered. And the problem is at that point, I pointed that out to leadership. I mean, we tried addressing it directly. We tried addressing it indirectly. But when you're in the CEO's office, and by the way, I've already told the investors as well, you're in the CEO's office and you go, hey, this is what's happening. This is why these people are leaving. This is this. And they just can't see that they're like this. They can see the 1 or 2 good traits, but they're ignoring the fact that they're toxic for the entire rest of the organization. It sucks. And at that point, you just got to go, look, I can't change anything. Either, and this is where I listen to Jen, it's, stay in happiness, leave in peace kind of thing. And that was the last organization I was at. And it sucked. Are you running into it now? I'm almost fucking 50. Give up with this shit. This should only be happening to me when I was in my 20s or 30s, maybe. But this shit still happens. It's like, no, I'm done with this shit.
Right. Yeah. And if management, I mean, it's one thing if you have a shitty coworker, it's different if you have shitty management, because that's where you're supposed to go when you need something, right? And they set the culture of everything else. So shitty managers expect shitty employees.
Right.
I mean, it's a byproduct. I can't stand managers that don't want to listen, that don't want to take the time out of their day. And I won't tolerate in my own management team. My management team has to be there, has to be available. Ryan, you've got a great heart for the people that work for us.
Call me anytime you want. And it's funny because you say that and I put that out there and people know it's genuine. And then it's always, well, I want to make sure I'm respecting your time. And one of our coworkers yesterday needed a one-on-one chat with me. Just wanted to get a little one-on-one time. Hadn't had it in a little bit. Said, hey man, end of day. Hey, can you carve out a little bit of time for me? But if you can't, don't feel bad. Right. And I simply responded, A, I have time. B, I'm very good at boundaries and time management. So if I'm not available, I just don't answer the phone. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And you know, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I will treat your, you know, your request for time serious, but don't ever feel bad about making it. And I think sometimes we get that. You know, one of the other things that I've noticed, and again, not here, which is why it's so refreshing to be here, because a lot of that baggage from previously, I told my son, I said, son, it has taken me an entire career to find a boss I can respect and a group of coworkers I enjoy being with. You know, that's a big deal, right? I've had bosses along the way that I've had respect for, but none that I really felt were able to take me to the next level. And so, but I think a lot of times people are afraid. Like even within our own group, I've had people like, well, I don't know if I should take this to Evan or not. And I said, well, what's preventing you? Is it that you think the idea is not worthy? Or, well, no, he's so busy. I don't want to bother his time, da, 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 da. And I said, Evan's always got time for you if what you're going to say is you know, valuable and worthy, or if you need help or support, right? If you've just got some fly on the wall, crazy nonsense, throw that shit in an email.
Yeah.
Right. But I think there, for a lot of people, is a fear. And I've never had it. And I was actually told it many times in my career I needed to develop it. Well, Ryan, you can't just go and talk to that person. Well, why the hell not?
Right.
Why the hell not? Why can't I do that? What? Well, I mean, there's hierarchy. Okay, but what's that got to do with me having a conversation with them? And I just think that sometimes there's a part of that shitty behavior, I think, is rooted in, to your point, Chris, toxic leadership that then makes themselves unapproachable. And then you wind up with the one gatekeeper that's busy kissing ass. His lips are so brown you can color with them. And then it's like, you know, oh, I'll go up the hill for you. I'll do this, I'll do that. And then, of course, what do they bring up the hill? Their filtered version of whatever your truth was.
Right. And you mentioned one thing. You mentioned hierarchy. You know, hierarchy is only about roles and responsibilities. Hierarchy has nothing to do with communications.
Right.
You know, in an organization, right? Free flow communications is awesome, right? There's nothing off limits for coming and talking to me. In turn can come up to me. Right? I mean, what the hell? I'm a person. I need to hear things, right? And it's the same thing in the military, by the way. It's not uncommon for a general to go visit the frontline troops and hear what's going on, right? Because they want to hear from front, right? I don't want to hear from all the bullshit lieutenants and everybody else. I want to hear from the people that are actually fighting the fight.
And that's a huge one, because you, again, back to shitty people, shitty managers, shitty upstream, the amount of people that block and tackle and assume that somebody further up the chain doesn't want to hear it, but doesn't want to be bothered by it, doesn't need to hear it, isn't relevant or whatever. Having done, like the pair of you, having done all the above and below and all the things in the middle, that thing, you talk about toxicity and shitty co-working, that's a huge one. That to me really pisses me off, because there are definitely times it's like, hey, somebody up the food chain really does. No, that they shouldn't worry themselves about. How the fuck can you make a decision on that one?
Right.
You know, and that's to your point. I mean, Evan, to your point, that's, yeah, we used to actually, I mean, there are a couple, again, the problem is there are a couple of companies where I was like, well, senior leadership's coming around, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, great, yay. I'm going to put my resume on Monster now, and thanks and goodbye. You know, and that's, you know, it's stupid shit like that. Or you say something, and unfortunately then it filters down, and then you get bollocked because, you know, something was said that shouldn't have been said, or why did you say that, or whatever else it is. Those are the companies that, quite honestly, it's just, you know, it's a 1-800 to like Renee or freaking a whole bunch of other people that are recruiters in our industry.
Well, yeah, and Matt brought up a good point, you know, managers versus leaders.
Yeah.
You know, totally different things, right? Leaders can manage and managers can lead, but, you know, to fit one or the other, you know, they're different things.
Right.
Managers don't stick their neck out. Managers, I'm sorry, yeah, they don't. Leaders do that. Leaders are the ones that give me the, I'm going to charge bill. You coming with me? Let's go.
Yeah.
That's a leader. A manager is like, well, okay, let's, you go here and then you go there. And then if we all, it's a totally different thing. But I can't stress enough how important it is for leaders, for CEOs to set the culture, to set the right culture, to set what's tolerable, what's not tolerated here, right?
It's okay. So you said it. You said it perfectly. Is you've got the company. The company saying the company culture. It's up on the freaking wall, and then you have the unofficial one, which is the no dickheads. I think more companies need to take whatever the company's the mission statement. Take the mission statement, and put it there, and then put a paragraph out. What the fuck does this mean? This means no dickheads. This means we're not going to tolerate roadblocks. We're not going to tolerate people who can't accept accountability. We're not going to tolerate the negative attitude. Hey, you're allowed to have bad days. Holy shit, we all have them. Warn people, communicate. And I think that's the big thing is so many organizations, there are definitely some, and I think the Valley, to give Silicon Valley some credit, I think there's a lot of that culture has that positive mission statement, but there are some companies out there, big, small, and a lot older, the more dinosaur-esque companies that you have no fucking clue. You're a peon cog in a wheel, and no matter how much you bitch and complain, nothing's going to change. And sit down, shut up.
Well, and it's one thing too to have. I mean, most companies have core values, right? What's rare is that you actually follow them. What's rare is, I'm not a hypocrite. When I say the number one core value is we tell the truth, what the fuck? That means you don't lie.
Right.
All right, you have to tell the truth. And that has to start with the top. If you ask me a difficult question, I have to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. We were back from Bulgaria, me and the president of FR Secure and our lead developer from Security Studio. And we were at a layover in Germany, and we were sitting having lunch, and we were talking about travel, and we're talking about never been to South America, these guys. And I'm eating and I'm listening, and I'm like, oh, I've been to South America. And they're like, oh, really? Where at? And I was like, Bogota, Colombia. And I was like, what the fuck am I saying? I'm lying. It was one of those things where I didn't think about it. I wanted to be part of the conversation. And I just went with it.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, well, that's cool. That's cool. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so we went about finishing eating. And then it was like just gnawing at me. I'm like, fuck. So we get up and we start walking to, we're getting, coming to the escalator. I'm like, dude, guys, I gotta come clean. Like, what? And I'm like, I've never been to South America. They're like, yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, I fucking lied to you. I told you I was South American. They're like, oh, okay, well, good. But it was just that little fucking lie. And I was like, shit, you can't, if even that one little lie, man, it's number one in our core values. Number one. And even a small lie, right? If somehow it comes about and around and you find out, fuck, Evan said that he'd been to South America, and I find out that he never went to South America. What kind of fucking hypocrite is this? What kind of leader is he?
Yeah.
He's a hypocrite. He's not a leader. Well, fuck, man, you can't play that game. So it's a lot of weight. And one of the things that people don't realize, I think, with leading companies, with being a CEO, with being the higher up the mountain, the stronger the wind blows. It's harder.
Yeah.
You catch more shit. And then when you get to the top, there's only one person at the top, and it's lonely. People don't understand that, man. There's nobody who knows what the fuck it feels to be here. But anyway, I'm digressing on myself a little bit.
No, you're not. I mean, it makes sense. But here's my question. And this goes back to the coworker thing. So perfect example. Let's say you've got the leader. Let's say Brian and I are working together. And I'm in front of a client. I'm going, okay, this software it's Miracle Whip. It's fucking amazing. It does all these amazing things. And Ryan's saying, fuck, it doesn't do half this shit. And okay, how do you address that? And at what point does that company get too big for that lie to not be addressed? Are you willing to lose me over that? Are you willing to lose Ryan over it? And how do you deal with that? How does Ryan report that into an organization without the repercussions? You know, how does he go to HR and go, hey, Chris is lying his ass off about our product or the potential? He's telling customers that they need to buy this fucking widget now. And by the way, we're not doing this shit for another 24 months and stuff like that. To me, it's like, how do we call each other on it without it, without the repercussions? I don't know. It's how do we deal with it? Maybe.
I think it starts with HR is not your friend.
Right.
I mean, let's get real here. HR has a job, and it ain't got much to do with you. It's got to do with keeping the company out of hot water. So I suppose if you're reporting, but the problem is you got to work with people with integrity then. Otherwise, I mean, some of the worst behaved people I've ever met were in the HR department. Some of the most, egregious violations of company policy happened in the HR department. And so basically anonymous is really the only way to do it without retribution. So having an anonymous reporting thing, but then the person on the other end of that has to give a shit.
And what I would expect is that Ryan, who was there with you, would bring it up to you.
Oh yeah, I'll call your ass out in the hallway. So what in the fuck are you doing? Don't ever do that shit again. Don't do it again. But B, if you are, make sure I'm not around because next time I'm calling you out.
And I think that goes back to the core thing. It's like, how do we deal with it? Do we call it out? Do we not call it out? Back to that, hey, we need to address this when we see it. It needs to be called out. You did it. You said it right. Somebody bounced up and down like a fucking caffeinated jackrabbit. You go, hey, quit that shit.
Well, and I think there's a time and a place. So will I call somebody out in front of the client?
No.
Not the first go around, never. Now, if you've got habitual behavior and I need to embarrass the hell out of you and then recover the damage.
Yep.
Well, I done told you 3 times already. I warned you this was coming.
Yep.
Well, and there's a reason why we've, to avoid some of that stuff. The mission is to fix a broken industry. And in order for us to do that as a consulting company, you have to be product agnostic. And the reason why is because if I were to consult you and represent products, then I can't say that my consulting is unbiased. It's biased. I tell you your firewall sucks because I want to sell you a firewall. Even if I don't want to really sell you the firewall, there's still that perception that I want to sell you a firewall because I sell firewalls. Right? We also have, this is a picture of my truck. Right? The rule is if you sell the customer something that they don't need, you get run over by this.
That's fucking awesome. Oh, I love that. You're awesome. That's just
I've seen him say it in front of everybody. He's not making it up. I was there.
That makes me so happy.
Well, because you're counter to the mission. The whole purpose for our existence is the mission. If you're out selling shit to people that they don't need, so I'll give you an example. Even when it's not representing products, you say that you need a penetration test. I know that you've never even done a vulnerability scan. You don't even know what the fuck you have.
Right, exactly.
If we tell you a penetration test and I find out about it, well, then I get my keys to my truck.
Yep. No, that makes perfect sense. I'm not going to say who it is, but weird situation yesterday or day before yesterday, whatever else it was. So I got asked to go do a call on behalf of an MSP, and I thought it was a call with a client. It was a client call, go do some work and everything else. Oh no, it wasn't it was a call for another product vendor. Now, I think you guys both know, and some folks on here, we're actually building something. We're putting something together. We're going to drop into a client site. And this MSP knew about it, but they asked me to get onto another freaking competing vendor and basically do an analysis of them. Now, I did it, but then I got off the call afterwards. I'm like, okay, that was bullshit. Don't ever do that to me again. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and it's the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, you just nuts on that one. I just, yeah, no truth, no integrity up front. The whole lot, just absolutely pissed about it.
I was sitting through one today, and they made it, and I won't even say what they said so that people can't figure out who it is. But
is that what you texted me about?
They made a claim about their product. It just can't possibly be true. There's just the way that they described this capability and what it could do for their customer was so wildly out of line with how things actually work that it took all my strength not to hit the unmute, because I was also one of the panelists, and yell bullshit, 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 bullshit. So instead, I was yelling that to my coworkers in the chat because I had to say something to somebody. I just heard an outright, blatant, flat out lie.
Right.
And the target audience is the very same people we're trying to save. They gave you their 5 minutes, and this is what you did with it.
This was a live webinar?
Yep.
What would have happened? What would have happened if you would have unmuted yourself and said that? Bullshit.
I would have made for uncomfortable relations between parties. So I opted to not do that.
You are nicer than I am. You realize that. You have way better bedside manners than I do.
I understood the consequences of my actions against the lay of
I'm actually going to do that sometime. People don't invite me to
so bad. There were gifts, there were memes, there were texts, it was
no fun from you. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. We did the meme thing backwards and forwards.
I couldn't make it up. Thing. I have never, and I'll put it in the chat so Evan can hear what.
Yeah.
And I would love to tell all you guys, but if I do, then you'll figure it out, and then we'll get a letter. And
yeah, you'll get yelled at. I did it on a Wiser thing a couple of days ago. We were doing one of the Wiser webinars, and one of the panelists used hacker in the derogatory term. I called him on it. I'm like, again, I took that microsecond to go, I understand the consequences of what I'm about to do, but I basically said, actually, let me just clarify something. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute, and we're going to have a conversation about the definition of a hacker, because the person that's actually running this webinar is a hacker. Let me explain it to you, why, what, and how. And I mean, it definitely, I'll be honest, it toned everything down for a little bit. Thankfully, the other lady who was on it was freaking amazing and just plowed on in a brilliant way. But you could tell he was just like, uh-oh, never been called bullshit before online. But there are times I'm like, you're nicer than I am. You're much nicer than I am.
I'd like to think it's more strategic than niceness.
There we go. You're more strategic than I am. I am the bull in the time.
About that relationship needs to foster and bloom. And I need to build relationship capital so that I can influence and say, come here, hey, come here. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask, Ryan. I mean, is this somebody that we need to keep a relationship with, but is it somebody that we should reach out to and say, hey, you can't be saying that shit?
There's a conversation. I haven't had a chance to connect with you, and it's a deeper thing. We won't get into it now. I think we do want to continue to promote and preserve that, but I do think there is a little bit of come here. We need to chat about some phrasings. There's some phrasings that really lend themselves to misunderstanding. I'm not accusing anyone of outright, even though to my ears it was an outright lie. Publicly, I'm not accusing them of lying. I think they hopefully unintentionally misrepresented their product. That strategic and political enough for you?
In other words, they bullshitted. Yeah, far enough you needed not a broom, but you needed a shovel.
It hit all the red flags where I you know what it was? I had flashbacks to the cash grabbing booth at RSA. That's what was invoked was like, but wait, but why? Why? Okay, I let the first one slide, but then they kept going. I'm like, why are you digging this hole? Stop digging this hole. This is true.
I will actually, I'm actually going to shine some good news on your your steaming pile of shit, basically. Unless you're going to sign some good news on it. I am a very vocal opponent of artificial intelligence and most of the shit that's in our industry. And I have called Darktrace publicly to the curb a number of times. To their credit, I actually sat down this evening before we got on the shit show. He came over 5:36ish this evening, and we sat down till like 8:15 or something this evening. Sat down with one of their crew, one of their senior crew this evening for a couple of hours, and we had a freaking fantastic conversation. Like, seriously positive, fantastic conversation. Talked about backgrounds, talked about other stuff. Talked about why I have the concerns I have from a technical level, from a marketing level, and a bunch of other things. Took a lot of conversations away with him, and it was actually really refreshing. Like, seriously, I'm like, okay, I am gonna cut him a little bit of slack, but I'm not. But at least it was really nice for somebody to sit down and go, okay, I want to hear why. I want to understand why, and I want to take it back, and I want to see if we can do something about it. That was actually really nice. Huge amount of kudos, and I'm not going to use the person's name or any of that stuff, but just understand that for the minute, I'm on a bit of a hiatus on the Darktrace until I see a little bit of change. I think it was actually really good to have.
Well, and I think it's wise of them to do the reach out. You know, I've had a couple organizations say, hey, okay, we've heard, you know, what you say, we want to get better. What does that look like, right? And you know, something I haven't even talked to you about this, Evan, but we're going to be putting together kind of a success starter kit, if you will. And in that will be those modeled behaviors. In that will be those ethos, those ethics. This is the recipe to succeed. And this is what you need to have in there. And it comes with some expectations about transparency in business, right? Like, we're advising this. You don't have to do it, but we're advising that the more transparent you are in business, you know, if your widget doesn't work, but it will one day, fine, say so. Many people have given up many amounts of money for a someday. Heard of Kickstarter, anyone?
Yeah.
Right? So
every SaaS company ever made.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So I think there's something in that where those of us that do care, that do know, can provide the leadership to the leadership that they seem to be lacking. And then it will become crystal clear as to whether they really are that way or they were just lost sheep.
Right.
There's
how many of them are really that way versus don't know they're that way?
Yeah, I think, and it's interesting again. I mean, you guys both know that I hang out with the Sempress crew. So I've run into some of their tactics. But the flip side of that one is I've had two of their crew now. Mikhail Babs is one of their guys. I meet with him. Didn't do this week. I've met with him like numerous weeks, like a couple of weeks in a row. He's newer. He comes out of Gartner, which is like, oy vey.
$10 for the quadrant. $10 for the quadrant.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
money.
Yeah, no shit. And he even admits to it. And it was really interesting because he's like, look, help me understand how you work, what makes you tick, what makes leadership tick. And he doesn't want to understand it just to sell. He wants to understand it because it's back to that relationship. He's like, look, I want to go in there as a good custodian. I want to go in there and understand, because you know what, it might be a fit, but it might not be a fit. And even if it's not a fit and I've gone in there and I've taken time, they might say, hey, go talk to so-and-so, or go talk to so-and-so, or in 6 or 12 or 24 months time, they're like, oh shit, now we want to talk to him at a different company. But it's been really interesting having that conversation with him, because I was on a sales call with him. I actually introduced him to a couple of people in our, in our field, in our area, to have an efficient conversation about the Sempress stuff. But the first call he was on, he brought his sales manager with him. And the night and day way they approached it was fucking crazy. I mean, I've got Mikhail, who I've been working with, who's like kicking ass. And the individual who came on was our old-fashioned used car salesman attitude. I want a fast result and I want it now. And if not, get out of my fucking way. And I'm like, holy shit. Luckily, he's never appeared again since. But Mikhail is like, he wants to know, learn, and understand properly. And to me, I'm like, I have all the freaking time in the world for you. You still have to sell. We've always got to sell shit. Let's be honest. we got to put food on the table somehow or other, no matter what.
But only sell shit that people actually need.
Yes, not at the expense of
Don't
integrity.
ever sell somebody something that benefits you and doesn't benefit them.
Totally. And that's my thing with him. That's the
You're
thing
stealing their money.
right. And that's the thing with him that I'm loving, because he's realizing that. He's realizing that not everybody needs the Semperos product. Not everybody needs this. Maybe they don't need it now. Maybe they need to have that conversation in 18 months' time, because you know what? For the next 18 months, they got to figure the other shit out first. And you know what? I'll help them. We'll hang out. But to me, I think that's the big thing about it is he's realized there's the balance between putting food on the table and helping people. And that, I got to love him for that one. It's been fantastic to see it.
Right. I mean, and let's be honest, 80% more. I mean, I don't know. There's no data. We suck at data in our industry. Of our market is untapped. So if you can't tell this one person this one thing because it's not the right fit, go on to the next fucking person.
Right.
You will find somebody. If you actually created a product that's worth a shit, somebody will buy it because somebody will need it.
But so do it with
keep
respect.
Moving on.
Yeah, but do it with respect. It's not and I use this analogy with him. There was years and years ago when we just come back from deployment. We were actually still in Southampton. We'd come into Southampton. They hadn't sent us up to Scotland yet. And we went out for the night. We went to the pub. And it's like, all right, we're here for 48 hours, basically 48 hours short leave pass in our own country. And we were in the pub. And one of the folks was like, hey, I need cuddles tonight. I need somebody to hang out with. And he played the numbers game. Hey, I want sex, I want sex, I want sex, I want sex, I want sex. And I got 6 or 7 slaps around the face. And number 7 and number 8 said, great, you're big, you're hunky, let's get the hell out of here. The rest of us were like, okay, he just played the numbers game. The rest of us were like, well, we're going to be civilized about the whole thing and actually talk to the people first. And, and it's that different mentality. It's that I actually want to know who you are before I jump fucking sack with you at a financial rate or anything else. And big different mentality.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, and when it comes to sales, I'm interested in relationship capital over financial capital.
Yeah.
The financial capital will be there, right? Relationship capital leads to financial capital. Financial capital does not lead to relationship capital. Financial capital is transactional. Relationship capital, you can't buy it. There's no amount of marketing money you can throw at it. You either spend the time, build the relationship the old-fashioned way, or you don't. Now, will you get some sales?
Wait, are you saying we'll have to work?
I know my kid doesn't like to hear.
Fuck.
But and honestly, guys, post 2020, right? When we get on the backside of this, I think there's a pretty big shift coming in the way business gets done and what people are ultimately going to care about. I think the fog of whatever the next 30 days is, or 60 days, or 90 days, or however long the court case drags out for. But I think as we get on the backside of some of this insanity and we start to kind of find our feet again, I think folks are going to remember. I know for a fact schools are blacklisting vendors left and right because of their shitty behavior.
Yeah.
Sending the most boilerplate garbage email, asking the dumbest shit, and all they're doing is making people angry. And they're like, screw them. They're so insensitive. They didn't bother to see how I was doing. How are we managing? I've got people breaking down from PTSD. I got teachers going on strike. I got this. And you're like offering me a free steak dinner I can't even take advantage of as a public employee.
Right.
Do you not know who you're selling to?
So you talked about the relationship capital. To me, that leads back into this, the shitty coworker thing. Because I mean, as a human, I'm not good at trusting first. I'm not even good at giving, sometimes I'm not even good at giving people a chance, but at some point there's a level of tolerance. Maybe you want to call it that way, that relationship capital. There's a level of tolerance. And whatever that is, at some point, to me, it's like I'm out of people juice at some point. I'm like, I'm done. And it's just people in general. Sometimes it's individuals. But to me, we all have that level of tolerance with humans. We can put up with certain shit. We can deal with certain shit. But your relationship, the way you look at relationship capital, almost to me relates to how we look at the topic for this evening, which is, the shitty coworker.
Well, and it is, and here's where I want to take this. So the pandemic, being at home, being remote, this is having an impact on our work relationships. It is, in some cases, eroding them. It's fascinating how loosely coupled relationships generally produce the highest degree of fruit as far as opportunities and success and introductions and network opportunities. It's almost never the guy you've known for 20 years. It's like, here, let me open a door. You've known them 20 years. They opened all the doors for you they could 19 years ago.
Yeah.
It's that loosely coupled relationship. It's that I've got a colleague I was talking to today. I haven't had a chance to speak with her in some time because we haven't really had a reason. But if we'd have been in the office, there would have been at least 10 minutes spent just hanging at the edge of the cube, shooting the shit. How's life? How's the dog? How's the spouse? How's the kids? How's the, and in this setting, we don't have that. And I think the lack of that is also starting to make people get a little more shitty. I think the isolation factor is a thing. I think I must be doing right because here I am in my own little echo chamber and nobody's yelling. So I must be doing right. Where there were those little moments where somebody might mention something to you after a meeting. Hey, I kind of noticed you did this. Maybe don't do. They're not going to take time to set up a Zoom meeting to tell you that. They're not even going to take time to write an email to tell you that. They were only going to tell you that in that moment as you walked out of the meeting room. And we've lost that. And I think, and again, not my coworkers, but I see it happening. I see people kind of spiraling down and those relationships breaking up. There's groups of folks that go to lunch on a regular basis before this pandemic stuff hits. How much did we get hashed out during lunch, during the ride over, during the ride back? That's when the business got done. It wasn't back at the office. It was, it was in those informals. And now we don't have that. And I think it's starting to have an impact on quality, productivity, innovation.
Do you not think that we have that? So this is an interesting one. I mean, you guys are probably in the same boat. I have my Mac Messenger open. I have Signal open. I'll have Slack open. I'll occasionally have the LinkedIn stuff open. And I'm talking with different people across all those platforms. I'm having conversations, sometimes meaningful, sometimes not so meaningful conversations. It's definitely not the same, but I'd say I get a lot out of it. I still feel like I get a lot out of those conversations and I can still call bullshit, or I can pick up the phone. That we did it today. Perfect example. So HHS today, Brett got hold of me about something and I picked up the phone to him and he answers and I'm like, hello, my darling snowflake, how are you? He bursts out laughing. Jesse is listening in behind the scenes because they're out doing some stuff at the farm. He's like, you goddamn goofy motherfucking fucking English son of a bitch. I'm like, hey, you can shut up, my little snowflake. And we went like that for like the first 5-10 minutes. And we started, instead of talking about work stuff, we talked about snowflakes for a while. We talked about tulips and how they resemble tulips in the sunlight to me. We talked about the fact that Jesse's got to go buy himself some more sheets. And so we're talking about like getting him some really decent ones. And we just went off on the shit for and then we're like, okay, what do we actually need to talk about? So my counter on that one is I think with the right people, I think you still do that. I think you still have those mechanisms.
Sure.
Yes. And I will say that for the people I have to directly interact with daily, that's happening. What I'm not getting are the side ancillary, different team, different perspective.
Right.
People I'm interacting with every day. I have conversations at least once a day with my team. And we do talk about stuff other than work, right? But it's those other ones, it's those auxiliary coworkers, if you will.
Is that because I'm just...
One of these days I'm just going to grow a beard so I can do that shit too. But, it's I think there's so much that happens there. How many times has somebody from another department mentioned something? I give up.
You're saying.
My coworkers are shitty. I quit.
We're shitty coworkers.
I'm over here trying to pour it out. You guys just playing with your fucking beards.
Yeah.
No, it's the kitchen, the kitchen waiting for the microwave, the water cooler conversations, the whole it's hallway. It's like hallway con. It's those ones. You're right. Those we're missing definitely.
I mean, especially when I was in big corporate, boy, I learned more by going to the can than I ever did in a status report.
Right. Yeah.
You go head towards the bathroom, boy, you'd hear all kinds of. Who's thinking what?
One of the places I worked, we had a Starbucks in the basement of the location, and yeah, sitting down there, like working down there, especially as the infosec person, just not right at the edge, but kind of like towards the edge. Oy vey. I mean, it was. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Amazing.
And I know for a fact that those bits of data in your head, in anyone's head, start to affect decisions. I now have knowledge I did not previously have. I'm thinking about things differently. There's an absence of that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
on the way to the car.
right.
How many times is, on the walking out together to the parking lot, do you wind up, somebody says something, and then you spend 5 minutes standing there at your cars. That does not happen in the digital realm. There's no car to walk to. So we have to be very purposeful about our communication. We're not having passive communication. We're having active communication.
Oh, that's really interesting when you're right. So again, I was hanging out with the ITSP folks earlier on, which we need to have a conversation about at some point. Some really cool stuff. Talking with the ITSP folks today. Had JJ Snow on. Oy vey, what an just amazing. It was one of the just.
She's
but
incredible.
In years gone past, we would have met up in the con or next to the con, walked all the way to where we were doing the recording, doing this the whole time, done the recording eventually, and then walked back, probably grabbing a coffee on the way. That what ended up being an hours-long conversation probably would have been like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours worth of engagement. You're right. You're absolutely. I mean, you're spot on.
And I think it's having an impact. I'm looking into my crystal ball, and I think you're going to see an overall decline in productivity. I think you're going to see an overall decline in creativity because the collaboration is reduced. It's more forced. It's not as natural. You don't just walk by somebody's desk and go, "What's that? What are you working on?" "Oh, let me tell you about it." "Oh, wow, that triggers me to have this thought." That stuff is gone.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, you can't even create a virtual like smoker's room or tea room or coffee. I mean, you can, but again, you're forcing the function.
It's purposeful. It's intentional. Yeah. It's
what
not
about,
passive.
What about Slack? What about using Slack still purpose? I mean, I have it open.
Purposeful. I didn't happen upon information. I didn't happen upon you.
Right.
The happen upon is what's missing.
Happen upon.
Happen upon. The group's walking out to go to lunch. They look over, see your lonely, hungry ass in a cube, and says, "Hey, do you want to come with us?"
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, I get to go with this team. I've never gone to lunch with this team before. Hey, this team, how do you guys do what you do?"
But okay, take that aside. So I hang out with a bunch of the crew over in the Middle East, and it's a WhatsApp group, and I don't know how many of us are on. A lot. It's the same thing with like the Tinkerers group over here. That's a continual stream. And I feel like that's one of those conversations I can go in and go out of. Lucas just put it out there. For those of us that grew up with the IRC channels, it's that continual stream. And I'm going to use your words. That's our analog human interacting in the digital version of that world. That okay. I would, yeah.
I'll buy that. But I still have to be purposeful about interacting with that group, and that group is only that group. So I'm not gonna.
So are you making the point, Ryan, that due to the remoteness of us all in COVID-19, that the shittiness of workers will become more prevalent? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Because of the isolation, because of I'm only working on what I'm working on, and I've got there's no counterbalance of my opinions. I'll give you a good example from our own personal life, Evan. You and I get more done in a room together in 30 minutes than we get accomplished in a week of Zoom and email.
True.
Yeah,
way more done. We work through it because when you're doing the email, okay, well, I'm writing it out. Okay, I think I picked and chose my words well. Then you've got to read it, interpret it how you interpret those words. Then you go, well, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But if we were in a room together, that would be a half a second interaction. I'd say blah, blah, blah. You go, whoa, that doesn't click. Oh, wait, let me rephrase. Okay, that clicks. And then we're moving the conversation forward. Instead of, let me read your diatribe, try to understand where you're coming from and what you're saying, form a response to it, which then I in turn have to digest and go, okay, well, he didn't get what I was getting at. Let me try again. And that could happen 3 or 4 times and you still don't get to an answer.
Yeah. So there's productivity, but that doesn't, I definitely agree with you, man. And but the shittiness of workers, that's not an example of that, but I can see how, here's the thing. The truth is empty spaces always get filled.
Right.
Always. It's what is it going to get filled with, right? And so in communications, if there's a gap in communications, what I'm going to fill that gap with is going to be assumption or something else, right? Probably assumptions.
Yeah.
And so it's easy because I've seen this happen myself, right? In conversation, in my own sort of thought process. Now I don't act upon it because I try to like, hey, identify this shit. Like, you're operating on assumption. But a lot of people don't do that, and we talked about that a few shit shows ago. Where some people don't have that inner voice. To the research that you cited. So if I fill that shit with assumptions and then I operate under those assumptions, it's easy to go the negative route, right? And then become a shitty coworker without really realizing you've become a shitty coworker, I think.
Yeah. And again, nonverbal cues represent over 80% of your communication.
True.
Email has no body language.
Oh, don't even.
I mean, has some body language.
What am I saying now? What's this body language? What?
You're saying you're a fish and you're doing the waves.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right? But seriously, and then there's the physical presence aspect. Some people don't get shitty because they can feel the energy that goes, now is not an appropriate time for me to get shitty. I can feel it in the room. I can feel that this is not an appropriate time for me to pull this crap. And when you remove that,
well, there's that too. And you hit on another thing earlier, that people get ballsier when they're electronic.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that. Like there's some things people would never ever say to my face. You see them online. It's like, because I've seen that in my own management team. Renee said something, and I was like, fuck, I don't think you really wanted to say that. You know what I mean? Because it just wasn't appropriate. And so, you follow up afterwards. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't have done that in person. You know what I mean? It happens. And so if you don't keep that in check, again, I think inadvertently, you're not a shitty coworker. You can become a shitty coworker without you realizing you became a shitty coworker.
And that's my concern, is I think that trend is in its beginning stages. I think we've been in this long enough now that we are adjusting to this as that new normal. And as we're trying to find our anchor points, we don't have the counterbalance of being in the culture. Let's talk about company culture for a second. So I will be the first to say that it requires direct, active participation to be on my own alone and still feel part of the group. And still, that's an active choice that I make to say, no, these ethos, I honor them. Today's a great example. I wanted nothing more than to unleash the fury on this person. But hold on, that's not operating with integrity. That's not, I shouldn't say it would have been operating with integrity. It would have not been well. It was not in the best interest of the organization, right? You're on mute.
He's on mute. Either that or we've lost him. The squirrels have eaten half of his cable. That's
no,
probably
I pushed the button. I pushed the button. Sorry. But it would have been counter to our mission.
Right.
I get now that you shared who it is, it would have
Correct.
been counter to the mission. So one of the things about the mission is you use whatever assets you have at your disposal,
That is also correct.
right? And so this is an asset that we can leverage to further the mission. And it's not that you lie, it's not that you're lying, you
Mhm.
let the lie go,
Mhm.
I mean, until you can pull that trigger. Yeah, I get it, man. Now that I see who it is, I'm
Uh-huh.
totally with
It's
you.
a whole, there's a big arc of strategy. At some point there might be a conversation, right? When
It's like
appropriate.
it's like investors, right? Investors, I've told investors before, like, you want to make money. I want my mission accomplished. I'm going to use your money to satisfy my mission. You can use my mission to make as much money as you fucking want. I
Right.
don't shit. You know what I mean? That's the game we're going to play.
But I think to the point I was making is the isolation aspect. So I have to actively work to feel part of the group. When I would walk into the office pre-COVID, I didn't have to do anything. There was an energy, there was an abundance of energy in the space that said, we're here to do the mission, we're here to win. There was just there was
It's true.
non-verbal accountability by physical proximity.
All right. So when
Does that make
let's
sense? Like, you
yeah, but
guys feel
let's take that to the next
I
level.
feel it, brother.
good.
I smell what you're stepping in.
Damn
Hallelujah.
you.
Praise the Lord.
I'm gonna go get alcohol. I need more alcohol in a minute. But before I do, the hell is my freaking train of thoughts? Okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Choo
Um,
choo.
don't you
Chain
do
of
that to
thought.
me.
Choo choo.
All right, before I lose the damn train of thought, fucking squirrels, I swear. Um, is there a way for a company or an organization to step up to change that? You talked about the mission,
Yes.
talk about accountability. How can we because this is where I was going. This what we have now isn't changing until I would argue middle of next year, at
Fair.
least. I would say middle, and I think it's probably longer than that. I'd be surprised if I go to a conference before the end of next year, to be perfectly honest. So let's just say middle of next year. So we've got nine more months of this shenanigans left. We don't want shitty co-workers. Potentially, we're all turning a little doolally. Let's be perfectly honest. And so, is this something a company or an organization, somebody, leadership, HR, whoever, communications, can step up and somehow
Yes.
digitally give you some element of that? It's never going to be perfect, but it gives you some kind of belonging, some kind of, I don't want to feel shitty today because I do not need a fucking motivational message in my inbox. I'd rather have a demotivator posted, to be perfectly honest, because that's more of our ilk. But the company can figure out what it would take to keep people informed and keep them happy. Is there something that could be done?
Yes.
There
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. We're living proof of it. I mean, both FR Secure and Secure Studio are thriving right now, culturally and, you know, financially, right?
Right.
Both companies are going to, break records again this year.
Nice.
But
And
that's
that's
secondary. That's secondary to our culture. And I'll give you, here, I'll just show, this is our culture. This is, what we, and I'm sharing it not because I'm bragging about FR Secure, but I want to set an example. I want other people
mm-hmm.
to kind of, hey, this is something that seems to be
And
working for them. Maybe
hey,
it'll
and
work for us.
Evan, never ever be afraid to stand up. I mean, having built companies both successfully and unsuccessfully, what you've managed to freaking achieve within the organization should be fucking celebrated. End of discussion. So never ever think you got to apologize for it. Never.
Oh, thanks, man.
Of course.
These are non-negotiable. So we live these things. So our core values, we tell the truth. You lie. I mean, we hire and fire on this, and we hire based on people that fit this profile. So people that are honest. We collaborate. So it means we have all kinds of shit that we do. Regularly. I have a meeting every morning with a different leader, just talk shit. We don't have anything specific. There's no agenda. It's checking in.
Yeah.
And I know about things in our culture. I know people who are struggling with their marriage right now. I know about people who are, because they've shared it, not because I've gone and violated privacy, but because they felt comfortable sharing it because you lead this thing like a family. I love these people. And that's the way you run this. Understand that people are struggling because uh, they're isolated. They're working from home. Take a day off. Shit. We the project will get done tomorrow. Take care of your family. It's getting your shit together first. There's just so many things that go into setting a good culture, so that just before the meeting today, I got a call from our director of sales. He's like, hey, I don't know where to go with this, and I just thought I'd start with you. I'm like, well, shit, you started with me. You might as well finish it with me too. I mean, fuck, whatever. I said, next time you probably want to go to Renee, who's our chief operating officer, but man, I'll handle this one. That's cool.
Right.
But it's this thing where you feel like you're part of a family. It's this thing, and that's the way you get through things like this. When you're going through tough times and you're going through things that shake your world, that the world just ain't right, what are you going to fall back on, man? You're going to fall back on family, fall back on people that you trust. You're going to fall back on people that you love and that love you. And why can't that be work? Why can't that be the place I work? Why
Right.
can't I tell Ryan once a day or whenever we have a conversation? I usually end my conversation with Ryan and him the same way. Brother, I love you, man. I do.
100%.
And Ryan knows that he can call me and I will get in my damn truck and I'll go pick him up or do whatever the fuck he needs. And that's the way the business runs. And I think companies can do more of that. You won't be able to emulate the same culture because you're different people, but it's the same sort of like, I only give a shit about you before I give a shit about the company, before I give a shit about how many dollars we have. I mean, what the fuck are the dollars if Ryan's going through a damn divorce because his shit's all fucked up?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't mess around with your marriage in a 78 RV. It can get a little tense. No, we're fine. We're fine. She was just going home. The training guy thought I was getting a divorce, though, boy. I tell you what, she burst into tears in front of him. The whole thing.
But there are other people, sadly, that are in our company who are struggling with that right now.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I know about it is because people reach out to me and say, hey, do you mind, maybe calling him and, seeing how he's doing?
Yep.
Absolutely. And not just that, but I'm going to once a day because I've been through the same shit. I went through a divorce. I know what it feels like, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. And at the end of the day, it's like when Jen came in. It's like when Jen came in this morning. Jen looks after me. She looks after the company stuff. She is hugely integral to this organization. And she came in and she's like, not feeling good. I'm feeling crappy. I'm like, and she was talking about it. I'm like, I will go get you chocolate. Do you need me to go get you chocolate? I don't care about what I'm doing. I can take calls from the ready car if I need to. I have nope. And I'm like, are you sure? To me, because it's taken me. I've had somebody like looking after or trying to look after me for, I guess, the best part of probably 2011, 2012 till about now. So give or take a little bit, 6 to 8 years, a couple of breaks in there. Jen's probably the first person I've found that's been as effective as she has, is capable as she has, is able to juggle multiple things as she has, doesn't get flustered, etc., etc., etc. I, in my own mind, same with like Jake and a couple of the other folks, I, in my own mind, want to do as much as I freaking possibly can to support that person because I ain't going to find another one.
Right.
And what do I need to do to make sure that you are okay enough that everything is going to be as good as it possibly can be? That's my job. I don't want to spend another 6 years trying to find another freaking person. It's as simple as that.
Well, it just goes back to train your people to leave and treat them well enough to stay.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's sweet.
Well, that's totally it, man. And it's not that hard, right? It's just like being a father.
No,
Being a father is not that hard.
Give a shit.
Right.
Give the tiniest amount of shit.
Yeah.
And shocker, newsflash, you might be the only person in their life that does.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not be that person? Right? It costs very little, by the way.
Well, it's free.
Yeah.
And it's free. And not just that, but the blessings that I feel when people reach out to me and I feel like I made a difference in somebody's life today.
Yeah.
Fuck, how many dollars do you put on that shit? I don't care about the money, man. I got money.
Right.
I don't want money. Fucking money. You know, I just piss it away. If you give me more money, I'm just going to spend it on something stupid like fucking flying things with paintball guns on them.
No, that's not stupid. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea.
Right.
There's
Right.
acceptable risks, and then there's large red jam squishy stains on the ground. You know, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. It's all fun.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
But
it's the give a shit factor, right?
Yeah.
100%, man.
But it can't be bullshit.
Well,
It's got to be genuine. That's the other thing. There's a lot of leaders I've had.
People see right through it.
Oh yeah, my door is open. I have an open door policy.
Fuck yeah.
I've never seen the door open in my whole life. What are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
And every time I try to get near that door, your admin interrupts me and says, "No, not right now."
Oh, it's so,
Well, here's what happened to
Yep.
my door when I was out on a business trip. Somebody freaking put gift wrap on my bacon gift wrap on my door. Decorated my door with gift wrap. So now it's still on there. Now you guys have to see it all the time.
love it.
But that's totally. And so when you talk about shitty coworkers, if one-offs are, bound to happen, right? And I would say if you're dealing with a shitty coworker, take a look in the mirror first. Are you the shitty one? Because a lot of times I've looked at people and said, what the fuck's wrong with this person? What the fuck's wrong with this person? Only to find out that I'm the fucking shitty one. I'm the asshole.
Well,
Are you
goes
the
back
asshole?
to this one. So I'm sure you guys have heard this. My father was very clear about this. If everybody's an asshole, it's you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Your dad was wiser than on the outside, you never believe as wise as he actually is.
I'm telling you, the guy had some wisdom, but yeah, it was really, I learned that pretty young. He goes, if everybody around you's an asshole, it's not them, it's you.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Hold that thought.
The one or two.
I'm getting a little bit more of this. I'd offer them to you guys, but I haven't quite figured out how to go analog to digital in this. And
Is there an AI for that?
Funny thing about that.
Working on it.
Is there an AI for that? There's got to be an AI for it.
So, Evan, I did manage to work the social media trailer into a presentation I gave today, or social dilemma trailer.
Really? Good for you.
Yeah, I showed it. And then I spoke about, so I kind of led him into it. I said, this is why you want to care. This is why you want to care. This is why you want to care. And then I played the trailer right towards the closing of the session. And I was like, now, this is really why you want to care. And I think it was, you could tell it was one of those linchpins where people were like, I didn't know that was happening. I knew they were doing something. I didn't know they were doing all that.
Well, here's the thing I've been saying too to, friends is people are not sheep. So stop acting like you're fucking sheep.
Oh, but it's
if you're going to act like sheep, then expect to be treated like sheep.
Well, exactly.
Right?
To be shaved and slaughtered.
Open your eyes, take a look around, see what's happening, entertain other opinions. In the Unsecurity podcast it was a day late this week on Wednesday, Brad and I didn't see eye to eye in our review of The Social Dilemma.
I'm gonna have to listen to
I know. It was awesome because he went down this path of like, what's the bias? What are these guys trying to get you to do? I mean, is it, and I was like, what? That doesn't seem like it was the point, but whatever. So we came we went back and forth, and it was a great example, I think, of respectful disagreement to try to find common ground. Right? I wasn't trying to change his mind. I get it. Your bias is you thinking that, and I'm thinking this. I'll give you that, but what's the core thing that we can agree upon, and then go from there. It was really, really because the thing that we agreed upon was really, I think, the point of the whole documentary, which is, social media is being used to manipulate millions and millions of people, and you better wake up.
It's a weapon.
Have you
Let's
seen
be
it yet,
perfectly
Chris?
honest. It is.
Did you watch it yet?
Absolutely.
I have not.
What the fuck? I gave you that homework a week and a half ago.
Somebody's really disappointed.
I am.
What the fuck?
Tell you what, clear my calendar. I got you covered.
All right, damn it. Because we got to have that debate, and we can't have it until you see it.
Okay, should the two of us just watch it together? What does your Sunday afternoon look like, guys?
I'll be relocating an RV up north, one bottle of training fluid at a time.
I don't know what I'll be doing Sunday.
Sunday afternoon.
Recovering from heat sweats.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday, you're
Yeah, we got people. Yeah, we got like 20, 30 some odd people coming over to do smoking meat and a chili cooking contest. Yeah, Ryan's coming over.
No, not that. I just realized something. I was looking at the weekend, and I just realized I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm talking at CornCon tomorrow.
Nice.
Got to do slides.
I know. We're so alike. And I have a I don't know, some kind of education consortium kind of conference or something on Tuesday. I can't even know what I'm talking about.
Jen's yelling at me, and Jen's yelling at me in a good way, but it's really funny because I might have slightly overcommitted between now and the end of the year for speaking engagements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
It's a respectable number.
Stupid.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I'm trying to avoid people now. Like when I hear that Ryan's giving a speaking engagement, a speaking thing on behalf of Security Studio, I'm like, hell yeah.
You'd be proud, Chris. So I sent you that one slide. You made some recommendations.
Yeah.
No bullshit. 30 seconds before go live, swapped it out. Hit share. So
put the old one back in or put the new one back in?
No, put the modifications in.
Oh, no way.
So 30 seconds before go live, I did a real-time audible. I made the changes. And boom, we were in business.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
It was good feedback. It was good feedback. I could see where certain sensitives would interpret what I was saying as a reason to have something to yell about.
And that's as much of an ass as I am, and as much as I'm happy to smack people upside the head and drag them out to the desert. That's why the LinkedIn, I take time on that stuff as often as I can, and I try to read through it. We talk about the inner voice, and I try to read through all that stuff with 6 different voices, and typically only one of them is a white male English person, and the others are all over the fucking shop. And every now and again, it has its uses. So thank you. Thanks for asking. I mean, to be honest as well, Thanks for the answer on that one.
Well, that's what we're all here for, right? We got to support each other.
I'm happy, but I'm also slightly depressed by this.
What is that?
This is Ardbeg's Perpetuum.
Oh.
So it's one of the bottles. So I had a few of the bottles, and unfortunately, a few of them went to auction. And I had one open, and I decanted it a while ago into one of those small 4-ounce bottles. This is the very last of that 4-ounce bottle. So this is probably, at least in the near future, who knows what the long term brings, but at least in the near future, this is the last of the Ardbeg Perpetuum that I will have for quite some time, probably. So, salute.
Salute.
Cheers.
I just picked up a batch of Booker's grandmother's batch.
Oh, how is that?
Raw, uncut, and unfiltered. So it's got a punch. 126.4.
Oh, that actually probably does need a couple of drops in it. Yeah, that's.
It's got, so my wife used the last of my 2017. I had a 2017 Booker's single barrel. And she starts reaching for the Blantons to make the honey bourbon chicken, and I'm like, no. You have no idea how hard it is to get your hands on that right now. No.
Yeah.
It's not a price thing. It's an availability thing.
Yep.
And she's like, what about this one? And I was like, yeah, go for it. Boy, I'll tell you what, though, using that raw, uncut, unfiltered, the honey bourbon, that you got real bourbon flavor in that honey bourbon chicken. Normally she uses like a Jim Beam or some, because it's just cooking, right?
Yep.
And she's really, really flavorful. So.
All right. So here's
that was more money that went into dinner than I wanted.
No. So here's a lesson for you. Have you ever made like a red wine reduction?
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of those lessons I learned many years ago. I will never make a red wine reduction with wine that I wouldn't put in a glass on the favorite table when I used to chef. I would only ever make a red wine reduction with that very same wine. And I mean, we're talking decent wine because it's the same thing. You're still putting it in your mouth, and when you reduce it down, the complexities are still there. And honestly, it's the same thing with bourbon and stuff. People are like, oh my God, you're using that? I'm like, yeah, because it's still going in here.
Yep.
I'm not going to use crap. I'm only going to use good stuff.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was delicious. She did well. She cooks way better than me.
Delish.
Sounds like we did almost something similar. I've had what day are we on today? Thursday. So Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was, I cooked chicken in green chili. I chopped up the chicken. I made a green chili base and ended up chucking the chicken into it and then letting it marinate in the sauce for probably like an hour on the stove. Well, at the same time, I took the rest of the chicken out of the packaging that I had, chugged that into a container with same thing with some bourbon stuff in it, with some barbecue sauce and a whole bunch of herbs and stuff, and chugged that in. I cooked that up this evening. It's been sitting in there since whatever it was, Monday or Tuesday. I would have cooked that up this evening and had that with cauliflower rice, which was rather interesting. Yeah, that was good. That was dinner this evening. I might actually make myself another one after we're done tonight because it was kind of yummy. I love cooking. It's fun. I like it. Now the kitchen's all sorted out. Now it's where it is. It's like it's the right tools in the right place, to hand. It's like Evan, it's probably like you in the shed and stuff like that. If you've got the right tools and you know where to find them and you know that you've got them and you don't have to keep fucking getting up and going down the shop every damn single time you need to get another fucking nut or bolt off.
Right.
It's so much more pleasurable to work on things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. It, you work your ass off to build something, and then you enjoy it afterwards, right?
Yeah. So did we figure out how to deal with shitty coworkers? Can I at least bash a few of them head on and take them out and help them help them move on to another experience?
Yeah, I mean, from a leadership perspective, so I had made this comment to somebody. If I ever have to put you on a performance improvement plan, consider that your notice to find new work. Because that's not me. That's HR keeping me from firing your ass. That's what that is. So if you line up on a PIP, you should take that as the warning sign it is to secure new employment quickly. And the other thing I said was I never want to be a manager. If I have to manage somebody, they gotta go. I'm not looking for people to manage. I'm looking for people to lead. I'm looking for people that need some generalized guidance, a strategic vision, and a little bit of chutzpah behind them to say, get out there and get it done, right? Not, okay, did you let me go down the laundry list of shit you should have already taken care of and see where you're at with it. Now, that's not the same as doing like a check-in. You got to do some check-ins and some tasks, whatever. But, I don't. Once we grow big enough, we won't have a choice but to have B and C players because you have to have them. They do have a role to play in the world. But A players like to play with other A players. We'll occasionally tolerate a B, but we really don't want to. And we have no time for C players.
Right.
So part of shitty coworker culture too is
the only time we play B players is because we think we can grow them into A's.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. which is why we got no time for C's. We think B's have potential to become A's. But in a larger organization, you do need a B player and a C player.
Why? Okay, no. I'm going to challenge this. Why? Why in any organization? And to me, this isn't. Oh, I need people just to do the menial jobs. You know what? You could be happy walking in and filing paperwork from 8 till 5. If that's what you're happy doing, do it to the best of your ability, and I love you for it. Because at 5 o'clock, you can file that finished B paper, and you don't have to deal with anything until 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I have a level of envy for those people in some ways.
But you mean the job that stops?
Yeah, exactly.
I had a buddy that left IT to go be a nurse, which I thought was the craziest career switch. And he did it specifically because, Ryan, when I clock out, it's not my fucking problem anymore.
Right, exactly.
I am not waking up at 2 a.m. thinking about this call that we got to have at 8 a.m. I'm not, I'm done. I clocked out. That's it. It's over. So I'm with you.
They're still A players. And to me, they're still A players. You do the filing properly, you kick ass, you're an A player. Why does a company have to have C players?
Well, because people
they sneak in
jobs and there's a limited supply of A players.
Get them the fuck out.
No, I agree, and I'm kind of going with Chris on this. Not that I don't value what you're saying either, Ryan, but
no, I get it.
I don't think you ever settle. If you have a mission, and
why?
I expect you to be the best you can possibly be, which would make you an A player.
Right.
And if you're not being the best that you can be, then maybe you're not in the right spot, or maybe you're not in the right place, maybe not in the right company.
And I'll give you that. There is a appropriate bus on the, seat on the bus. I think there are people that get put into certain seats and they end up not being able to be as successful in that seat as a different seat. It doesn't make them bad or poor of quality. There are certain skill sets. Like, so for example, you can't just throw any one of our coworkers into going and doing talks. That's a skill set that is honed. There's a way that you do it, and when you present enough times, there's some polish there. And you can't just grab any old random anybody and say, hey, do me a favor and run this webinar, right? That's generally not gonna go well. So there is that whole role and talent and making sure they fit. But when I say that a C player is needed, I'm talking about organizations at volume. So for example, I'm going to pick on a big box electronics retailer that may or may not be headquartered several miles up the road from my house.
Blue and yellow logo, that kind of stuff.
Very possible. You can buy things there and they are the best.
Yep, I absolutely. Yep.
When I go into that retail establishment, I don't need the floor jockey to be an A player. I don't need that. I can't afford that. I could not effectively staff all of my retail locations with A players. A players are expensive and they're hard to get.
No, I'm going to cancel that. Okay. No.
All right. This is fun. Let's go.
Yeah, I like this one. So again, all right. So here's my thought on this one. Let's go back to my filing clerk. You're going to pay your filing clerk, what, $15, $20 an hour?
Okay.
And that's what they're happy doing that. They're a kick-ass filing clerk, and they're happy doing it because you're right. At 5 o'clock, they can switch off. Now let's go back to the retailer. You know what? I walk in, I clock in at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go do the best I can by the customers I can, and I'm going to do that. Because you know what? At 5 o'clock, I'm going to get off, and at 5:30, I'm going to be up in the mountains. At 6 o'clock, I'm going to be skiing, and I'm skiing until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, and I'm going to do night skiing. Then I'm going to come back down the mountains. I'm going to have a drink, and then go back in at 9 o'clock in the morning. That money that you're paying me, that $15 to $20 an hour that you're paying me to be nice, to know what I'm doing, to talk to my clients, to walk them around, to help them, I'm taking that money, and half that money is going in petrol, and the other half's going on a ski pass. That is my life now, and I'm happy doing that.
Okay.
That's a core value for us. Work hard, play hard. And the thing that people get messed up with is individual people have different versions of work hard, play hard.
Yes.
Like my work hard is 60, maybe 80 hours a week. That's my work hard. My play hard is, the other time I'm playing hard. That's my balance though, right? Now, somebody else's balance might be 30 hours of work is there balance?
Mm-hmm.
In that my 80 hours is more, is better than, their 30 hours? Not necessarily. It's a different balance. You have to create that.
Here's my other thing, and if you don't mind, Ryan, here's my other thing. When I go into that retailer, and I believe me, I frequent there enough that I've got whatever the hell stupid membership level it is. I go in there. A perfect example. I went in there to replace the Netgear stuff that I had in. I actually want an A player. I want somebody who's going to come up and I'm going to go, hey, look, I work in this industry. I know enough to be dangerous about the networking shit that I have at home, and I know what I want. But you live and breathe this every single day. Can you help me understand what's the difference between the Orbeez and the this and the this? I want that person to be knowledgeable enough that they don't have to pick it up, look at the back of the box and go, oh yeah. I want them to go, you know what? I talked to somebody last week. They installed it. They loved it. They're running it this way. This one wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it sounds like you got a convoluted home and shit like that. I want somebody to be engaged. I want somebody to care about me, even if it is for that 15, 20 minutes. I want somebody to go, look, anything else I can help you with? And this case was like, oh yeah, hey, I'm dealing, got wander over here. Look, I'm going to hand you off to Fred over here, and Fred's going to do it. Now, when we get company phones, I don't go to the Verizon store anymore. I go into that particular retailer and I let them deal with me, because the people in there, to me, you're right. They are where they are because they're doing what they're doing for whatever reason they're doing it, but they put their best foot forward.
And I'll give you that. But what I'm suggesting is that there's not enough of those people to actually meet the staffing requirements. I'll give you another example. There's a large big box home improvement establishment.
Yeah.
And when you go into that,
I know who you're talking about.
You might get lumber there. You might, possibly has orange shopping carts. But when you go in there, I have yet in all of my trips to that establishment, and if you're doing a project at home, you're making between 3 and 5 trips.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Oh,
have I met somebody that knows what the hell I'm looking for and where it is?
Oh my God. You have not had the best of experience. You've had terrible experiences.
Here, let me call somebody else. And then you got 3 confused workers standing around trying to figure out which aisle. And what do? They pull up the internet's website and then they go, because now their website actually shows
what aisle and what part of it. All right, you've had bad experiences. I'm going to counter that one. I
have had the worst.
I'm going to counter that. You need to get your ass down here. Stop living up in that freaking.
Okay, but this time I'm not driving the RV.
No.
Well, Chris, it's not location. It's him. I don't have that problem either.
Am I just a magnet?
I go in there and I'm like,
is that what it is?
I go in there clueless.
I don't know, man.
I approach it. I'm clueless. I go because I don't do home improvements very often. I had to walk in there. So we replaced the microwave in the kitchen, brought the other one back down, replaced it. I walked in there and I found this amazing young lady. And I'm like, help. She's like, what do you need? She was like, what do you need? I'm like, look, this is the kind of thing I'm doing. I think I need a bit of wood. And she's like, okay, let's go look in the scraps. And we walked over to the scraps and she found a bit of wood. She's like, all right, we can cut this. And, it's whatever it is. It's free for the first couple of cuts and like 15 cents. And because it was in the scraps, it was painted purple. And she told me why it was painted purple and the discounts and the military discount. They were great. Or I find the old guy. And I'm like, I'm stuck. And he's like, let me take you under my wing, Sonny. And they're fantastic. But I go in clueless because most of the time I am. And even if I'm not, I respect that this is their domain and they understand their domain. And if they don't, you're right. There've been a couple of times they've got to go ask somebody else, but I've rarely, if ever, have I had a problem in that particular big box retail, that big box home improvement store. Rarely, if ever, have I had a problem. I've been really fortunate most of the time.
Look, I'll just call it out. Home Depot. Which Home Depot do you go to?
What the hell are you doing? I said orange shopping cart in a big box establishment.
Well, we know it's not Lowe's.
Which one do you go to?
I go to the one up the road from my house, which apparently I need to stop going to because it's.
Is it Bloomington?
Huh?
The Bloomington one?
Yes.
Yeah, I go to the Chaska one.
But I will tell you not to go to the Walmart that is adjacent to it.
Oh,
that is a bad idea.
I've been in there and I was like, I walked in and I was like, oh shit. I went to feel if I was carrying and I was like, oh fuck, I'm not carrying.
Oh,
I gotta.
it's super, super, super
Yeah, I
sketchy.
walked out.
It's
I can't
sketchy in
do
the
wrong.
daytime.
I don't know the last time I went into a Walmart, but it was probably 10 plus years ago. I can't do Walmart. I'm
And if
sorry.
you go after dark, they have a resident police officer that just sits in his booth at the doorway.
Oh, interesting.
One of
Yeah,
them
this
joints.
I can't do it. I there's something against it, and it's just me. It's I got some weird stuff, and it just is what it is.
We can only get the dogs medicine in quantity through their pharmacy.
Oh, jeez.
One of them, trust me, if I have a choice, and anytime my wife's like, I'm gonna go, I'm like, you need me to go with you? You want to take the dog? You want to take the gun?
Yeah, see, that's like me. I won't shop at Best Buy anymore.
No way.
No, I refuse to. I've had just my bad. I had bad experiences.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a very loyal person. So like I'm a Ford truck guy.
Right.
I'll always be a Ford truck guy as long as Ford trucks keep running.
Yeah.
If my shit if it starts breaking down, well then I'm never coming back to Ford again.
Yeah.
If you piss, and that's what happened with Best Buy. You know, you pissed me off a couple of times. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not coming back. The thing is, I'm the customer. You
Yeah.
need to treat your customers with respect. And so,
Yeah, but you can't pull that with Micro Center because, well, there is no alternative.
I love Micro Center. They've always treated me nice there.
You got one out there, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, we got Micro Center downtown. We don't have Fry's, but we've got Micro Center.
Yep, we got
Fry's. To be Fry's is always a challenge. Every now and again, I found some good people.
Well, that's because Fry's sells too much shit that is out. I mean, you go into Fry's and it's like, all right, do you need a mess set? That's this aisle. Do you need
microprocessors over there and a freaking microwave? Yeah,
deep fryer for a turkey in one aisle. You get the turkey deep fryer.
Right.
In the next aisle,
lawn furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The aisle after that, you got
lawn furniture,
gears and lubricants. I mean, what the hell?
A little haphazard, should we say? No, it's interesting. So with Owl, at Owl hired a couple of the Best Buy folks, and Rob is still an amazing good friend. And you know, I think he was the second person I hired for One World Labs. It was absolutely fantastic, and I mean, he's great. Still good. He went on.
I think there's great Best Buy employees probably in the back office. I had a bad experience on the retail side, and I was like, screw it.
Yeah, that sucks.
I'm not coming back.
We got a couple of good ones.
You know what I really used to like? What was that other one?
Computer City? No, Computer City or
Circuit City.
Circuit City.
Oh, I loved Circuit City.
When
they went out, I was like, damn it.
Oh, I felt that way about Radio Shack. Now
there's still Radio Shacks.
I rarely did I have again. Okay, you want to talk about customer service and the individuals that more often than not didn't seem to know what the heck they were doing in Radio Shack. I would find more often than not just the folks in there just pointed and said,
"You want this Tandy computer, Chris? You want this Tandy computer? It comes with free speakers. You want it. You need this Tandy. I know you came in here for a remote. Come
on.
But you see, while I've got your attention, I need to sell you this Tandy computer.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And also, while you're here, buy some Dark Trace.
Oh, bless him.
Oh, bloody hell. I'm going to borrow Chris's words.
Oh, bloody hell. It's got AI. Come on.
Oh, it's got the best AI. It doesn't just have AI; it has the best.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you
with the Amazon drone.
Of course, it does.
Oh, that's that new Nesty stupid POS that's going in the house. That's going to run around the house. Oh, I am so waiting to get my hands on one of those motherfucking things.
What I want to see happen, and I'm begging you on behalf of the community. Make it aim for people's fucking heads so they get rid of
totally. Oh, hell yeah. We are rewriting the collision avoidance software. Yeah. Oh yeah. That collision avoidance shit is gonna get so rewritten so fast it ain't even funny. Oh yeah.
Target any skull higher than 5 feet. Go.
Oh, I want chasing dogs.
Dude, this shit is gonna be taken so out of context, and people are gonna be like, they're calling for the hurting of people and murder.
Oh God! Yes, we are not. We are being facetious. This is the comedy portion of the show.
No, we're not. I want killer flying robots. End of discussion.
Hey, for the record, and the NSA, FBI, whoever's listening, I am neutral. I'm not taking any sides.
Suggestion was based in satire and sarcasm.
Yes,
Man, the
and
first
I know
Budry
this,
guy,
and I know this Chris, and I know this Chris well. However, I'm not turning him in because I fear the repercussions of doing it.
the first budgerigar or parrot that I catch in mid-flight that gets a haircut as I'm chasing it down, yeah, that's hitting the newspapers. I swear, that's going to be good.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm impartial to all this shit. As you can see, I'm already in jail, and I'm 7 feet tall.
7 feet.
Awesome.
All right, so shitty coworkers. Now,
Yep.
I'm just going to give some advice. Let's end up with just giving each of us maybe giving some advice. I think this is the things that happened today. Chris, when we were doing the IT Nation thing, I love the way that they ended that. Right, where we each kind of gave our thing. Ryan, this is your topic. Do you want to start or do you want to end?
I'll end.
Okay, so I'll start. I think if you have shitty coworkers, number one, take it up directly with that coworker. Right? Try to resolve it one-on-one before you go somewhere else. Right? I hate the end around shit. Right? This is between you and that coworker. Right? If this is a thing that's systemic, like you can't get it resolved there, then go to the manager. If you can't get it resolved there, then I don't know. Maybe it's time to look for another job or just tolerate it. If this is a systemic thing within the organization, you have shitty leadership. You probably won't be able to change shitty leadership. Start looking for another job. Don't subject yourself to that shit. You're worth more than that. Go where else. There's plenty of jobs out there. That's my 2 cents.
Am I going next or yeah? So okay, I got a good suggestion.
Yep.
So typically, I mean, I know I talk about bashing people over the head and putting them in the ground in a pit, but that actually takes too long. You actually have 2 or 3 other options. You can actually do a really nice. There's a sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. If you heat it to about 300 degrees, it will actually dissolve the body in about 3 hours. It will not necessarily do all of the teeth, which you can grind to a fine powder. However, if you want to use like a nice acidic lye-based solution, you can do it in about 6 hours and it will actually do the teeth. Alternatively, more safer and easier, you can actually do about 8 pounds of regular lye, which is really, really nice. It takes a lot longer, or you can just chuck in the pig farm. So that's my advice.
I am so glad that Chris is my friend and not my enemy.
Seriously. Now, is that with or without the 55-gallon drum, Chris? Are we doing this?
It depends, because the problem is, honestly, bathtubs are better. But because the problem is, a 55-gallon drum looks a little kind of obvious, but most houses have got a bathtub, and if you find an unused house, it's easy enough to. And about 8 pounds of lye, if you mix it. How do I know this? Anyway, yeah, bathtubs are a little easy. Let's just leave it at that.
So short of exterminating your coworker, no matter how much you might want to, here's what I'll say on it. If it is one-off behavior, deal with it as one-off behavior. Have the conversation, let the person know how you're receiving their behavior, how you're choosing to let that impact you, and have that conversation. If it is constant behavior, confront the person respectfully, write the shit down because you're going to need it. If you intend to take it anywhere above that person, you need a documentation trail. So start making notes of what's going on. And when you've got about 90 days worth, then take that up the ladder. And to Evan's point, if the problem is shitty leadership, get out. Get out. Go somewhere else. Don't even try to fight it. Just bail. There's plenty of work out there, especially if you have 17 years of experience in Kubernetes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Actually,
right?
Yeah.
I have actually 25 years experience in Kubernetes. So
shit. Yeah. All right. You're hired.
Right. And I have 45 years of experience of Microsoft products.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent. Excellent.
Ryan, to your point, stay in happiness, leave in peace.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good advice. That's a great way to
Absolutely. Yeah. It just, if it ain't working, it ain't working. And we invest too much of our lives into our work families. And I don't know if those of you listening have similar stories to Evan, Chris, and I, but you know, when the family you're assigned doesn't quite work out the way you want, you go shopping for new ones. You make new family. And it's no different with your coworkers. If it ain't working, don't live in misery. Get the hell out. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Value yourself more than that.
Absolutely.
You are worth more than that.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah,
Again,
cool.
we've talked about this a little bit. You know, you don't know when your last breath is going to be.
right.
Do you really want to spend that time in an environment or a situation which you are not happy and comfortable in, and don't want to wake up and go, I can make a difference in? That's how I always look at it.
Yeah. Great advice.
Gentlemen,
You guys, I
love you.
freaking love you guys. You guys are awesome. It's so cool to do shit with you guys.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This was, Ryan, kick-ass topic. Seriously, like freaking awesome topic on this one. Yeah, really, really cool. Thank you.
Well, it was something I was hearing a lot of, and so, you know, and I actually talked to one of our fans the other day. They reached out to talk to me, and they had a suggestion. I think I'm going to add it to the list. I think I want to talk about digital literacy and the difference between how it is defined and what it really. So that was actually part of my talk today. I call it digital literacy plus.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, that'll be okay. I'm looking forward to that one.
Because I think that's a thing. I think part of the challenge we have is folks aren't near as literate with the technology as we assume them to be, not near as literate with it as we need them to be. So, anyways, that's a thought.
Yeah, I like that one. That'll be fun. That'll be a good conversation, definitely. Well,
that's a great conversation, man, because I think most of them are too intimidated to admit it, too.
Yep.
Good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a great night.
Yeah, have a fantastic evening. Thank you. Love you guys. Stay safe. Thanks, everybody online, as always.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys listening.